Grand Rising, guys. To the ancestors known and unknown, Ashe. To the gods known and unknown, Ashe. All praise and all glory be to the Most High. So, this rising, I give thanks for, I celebrate for not giving in to the spirit of procrastination. I finally stopped giving in, and I got up and I went and saw the sunrise, right? And after that, I kind of just sat there in meditation for a while, right? And in my meditation, some couple things came to me. One being, I've talked recently about, I brought up how important meditation is, right? And a lot of us never done it before in our life, no idea where to start, right? But you got to start somewhere. It's necessary, it's mandatory. And but also what I was reminded of was, I speak a lot about how the universe is going to give us signs, right? And when we ignore the signs, or when we don't pick up on them, which is the same as ignoring them, right? When we do that so much, we kind of get forced into a course correction. We get forced into doing what we were being led to do, what we were slowly trying to be nudged into, but we didn't do, right? And I'm being reminded of, it was a couple winters ago, and I had been feeling led to meditate, right? But I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do, right? Never done that shit before. 144, but it's very crucial. 144. But I remember I was out at the bar, and then a friend, she gave me a ride back to my place, and I ended up leaving my truck downtown, right? And I don't remember when the storm came in. It must have came in overnight or something, but lost power. And the whole next day, I could have found a way to get to my truck, but I didn't really. I didn't stress it. I kind of sat there just waiting for it to come back on, right? But I also, all my devices were dead, and I was trying to ride it out. And while I was sitting there riding it out, it came to my mind, hey, you're supposed to be meditating, and you haven't been doing it at all. And it's like I felt like I was being forced to. Like I had nothing to do. At one point, I was there all by myself. I had the whole 5-bedroom house to myself. There's no one there, just me. No devices, no power, nothing. And I just started meditating, right? Well, I just opening myself up. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, but it's just quieting my mind, just opening myself up, sitting in silence. So I didn't have a choice to, right? But you got to start somewhere, and open yourself up, you quiet your mind, close your eyes, but you don't even have to shut yourself all the way down. It was 3, 2, 1. Music, I play music a lot, but I get hits out of music all the time too, and a lot of things come to my mind in meditation through the music. And so I play calming, soothing music. You don't want to play anything 333. You don't want to play anything disruptive. You definitely don't want to play anything with harmful frequencies, which a lot of the music has. So you need to be cautious of what you're listening to. But I was forced into the meditation. And what the weird part is, so I caught some good downloads, right? You can feel it. You can feel the energy sometimes, source, coming through your fingertips and going into your palms. You can feel it. You can feel the downloads. But I can feel the energy right now. Oh man. But it was a snowstorm, right? And lost power. But when I finally ventured out, it was afternoon time. When I finally ventured out to go walk to someone's house to go seek, a ride to my vehicle, I noticed that it was power stopped, right? I was right on a hospital grid, and so technically I'm used to normally being on a hospital grid, so we don't lose power because we're tied into the hospital, right? Tell me how, I started walking down the road, and it was my house was one of the very first ones that lost power. And then the rest all had power. And it's could have that just been a coincidence? Yeah, but I don't believe in coincidences. You know what I mean? 4, 5, 6. Don't believe in coincidences. I was being forced to, because I had been slowly being gently nudged to do it, and I was refusing to. And when you refuse to do things, we get forced to do it. I still could have denied it and ignored it more. Who knows what would happen next, right? Something greater, you know. But you got to start somewhere. And so that was the first of the meditation, right? But then I'm also being reminded of another time where, you know, when you elevate and you raise your consciousness, right? You know, people come into your existence. You know, you meet the right people at the right time. And then after that, then I met someone that really, like, I don't know what she did. She did some sort of energetic work to me, but she helped to free up the blocks that I had in me. She just had me, you know, close my eyes, open myself up. But also another thing too is your neck, right? So you kind of like move your neck around. I loosen it up real quick, right? I loosen it up, but then, you know, you feel around and you can catch this right spot. You catch the right spot and you can feel the connection. You can feel the energy sourcing through you and going right straight up into the ether, straight up into the cosmos. You can feel it. And then sometimes it's so intense. Like I remember, especially at the beginning, oh man, it was like a mental stimulation, a mental orgasm. It was like you can't even really describe it, right? Sometimes it's just so intense, and I can't hold it for so long. I can only hold it for so long because it's just wicked intense. But then then I'll go back to it and like, frequency adjustment. That's another thing too. The first frequency adjustments, oh man, that ringing dropped me to my knees. That shit was so fucking loud. That shit was so loud. Because there's a lot of adjusting to do right off the bat. There's a lot of it. A lot of downloads to catch. There's a lot of shit. That's because of all the previous programming, all the false programming, all the negative programming that we finally clear. We finally clear, set, delete, get rid of it, and we make room for all the proper programming. You know, we start unlocking that junk DNA. No, it's your spiritual DNA. We start unlocking it. We start tapping into ourselves, tapping into our higher knowledge, tapping in. But it comes, you gotta meditate. It's so crucial, so crucial. You gotta start somewhere. You gotta start somewhere. You know, another thing I'm being reminded of too is, you know, well, before my meditation, I was sitting on the beach watching the sun, and then, I smoked one, right? You know, Mary Jane, that Jesus lettuce, it's a sacred herb. It's a sacred herb. And it was always treated as such. And it got outlawed because it was another way of disconnecting us from the Most High. It was disconnecting us from some of our confirmation, some of our creativity. They don't want us creative. That's why they bland down all the structures. Everything looks so basic. Some basic bitch fucking structures. Everything basic. Everyone cookie cutters. Everyone's wearing the same clothes, dressed in the same way, talking the same way, living in the same houses, driving the same cars. Everyone's so fucking basic. And they want it that way. They want it that way. They don't want uniqueness, right? And they definitely don't want uniqueness of the mind, thinking freely and clearly. Oh, fuck no. But sacred herbs, right? The priests, all these people in the high places, they use that to connect to the higher realms, right? To their higher self. They used it to connect. And it was known. But there's multiple things. It's a natural growing plant. It's healing. It's a lot of things. But what I'm being reminded of, meditation, and that it used to be used, right? It used to be used by certain people to put them into a trance, and to put them into a trance, right? I did that to myself, not even knowing it. Sometimes we can mix up recipes just by the things that we do, not even knowing what we're doing. And I did that. One of the times I did that. I've told this story before, but I was, hold on a second. So I remember I was like cooking dinner, right? I was cooking dinner, and I had some time to kill. And I was reading the Kabbalion at that time. And I went upstairs to my room, and I don't know if I think I had some diamonds or something like that, but I took a big ass hit. right? Took a big ass hit. And then I started reading out of the Kybalion. But something in me told me to put on Tool. I'm listening to Tool, and I just took that big hit, and I'm reading it, and I was like in a trance. I remember catching myself like kind of leaning back and forth, and I'm reading it, and I'm focusing on just one line at a time, right? That's all that my eyes were really focusing in on. Everything else was kind of blurry, but it just kept shifting from line to line to line. And then I was like, I know I was saying the words, but it was just, everything was just, I don't even know how to explain it. I put myself into a trance. And then I did it. And then the downloads I was catching off that book, the energy I was feeling off of that book while I was reading the words, because I was reading it vocally out loud too. And it was just, I just remember being so powerful, I had to throw the book down. Because I knew that was a connection source, that was a connection point, right? And whatever energy, whatever knowledge was stored in that book, I was catching whatever it was so fucking intense, and I could just feel it. First, it started in my, my palms, and then it goes down through my wrists, and then it's going down through my forearms, and it's going up into my, and then it was so fucking intense. Then I felt it in my whole body, and at one point, my hand shot off the book. That shit was like, I don't even know, but it was just a weird combination of things that just fell into place the way that they did. 11:22. Yeah. Unexplainable. It's interesting too, is I don't think I put that book down. I didn't touch that book again for a while. I was fucking scared. I didn't know what the fuck happened. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I had no idea. I still don't even, I have a better understanding now. 11:55. I have a better understanding now, but I'm still flying blind with a lot of this shit. Not yes and no. I'm divinely guided and led to do everything, and everything that comes to my existence, that happens for a reason. I understand that. But, yeah. But you gotta start somewhere. 1, 2, 2, 2. You gotta start somewhere. So if you don't know where to start, just put on some calming, soothing music to you, close your eyes, and open up. And set your intentions on clearing any blocks. How about you start there? Because that's somewhere you need to start. You need to clear all the blocks. Just ask for all or give thanks, because you speak into existence. Don't ask. Give thanks. Speak it into existence. Speak it into existence. But you got to start somewhere. So, slay that spirit of procrastination and get it done.